So hello, Sandro Livio Straube.
Hi.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you too.
So you were born in Zurich and you live and work in Vella, Canton Graubünden, in Switzerland, right? Did you spend the confinement there?
I changed places in the last few weeks because I'm also working here in Zurich, the Lake of Zurich. So, but most of the time I was in this small valley, and not just in this time now, but the whole last year I stayed there. I lived there at my parents' home in a house, and it's it's not much going on there. So I think I worked for a few years for this series, Berge Bleichen, Bleaching Mountains. So last year I managed to put things together for the first exhibition. So
because so this series mountain bleaching, so you did it in this so in the Grison. So when you moved to the Grison for the series, or it was how did you start this series actually?
The series started like now 6 years ago, and I was always there for the weekends, or maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks was the longest time, always in holiday. So, and then I recognized the density in the city, the stress, the energy. It became too much for me already a few years ago. So I knew this place gave me the calmness back I needed. Everybody has a place for this, but for me it was a really strong place. Sometimes I went just out in the morning without a plan, nothing in mind, and then if you do this for a long time, and I did it the last year completely. I had no work anymore for a year. Yeah, nearly a year. So I put my whole time in doing nothing, actually, just walking around in this valley and looking at things, feeling things. And this got so strong that I made a lot of images for the series, which in the series now. They were taken last year, but with the same thing in mind already 5-6 years ago. So I think the first 4 years were putting the image together, and last year was working really hard to get these images I saw or I had already taken, but were not perfect like I wanted them.
Yeah. When you say that a mountain bleaches in many ways, what do you mean by that?
I think this big massive rock and the stones and this power, the weather and the snow, the winds, the rain, the sun, which is really strong there. It's also a valley with the name is Volumnetia, so a valley of light also. And I think the weather bleaches everything out. So for me, it's not the weather and the sun. So it's this power of these mountains which bleach every aspect in this valley out. Even people are, these faces, they are, yeah, you see the power of nature there. Also the man-made objects and nature itself is bleached out by this power. And for me, of course, it's the sun, but I think the symbolic way is these big rocks around you which have this power and make this happen. Yes. So they also get worn by this weather. So they got smaller with time. Over thousands of years, they go away maybe, and they also bleach out. So it's a dialogue between the surrounding and the mountain itself.
How is it in summer?
Sorry?
How is it in summer?
Summer, it's actually really hot. It got really, the sun is so strong that sometimes it's hotter than here in Zurich. So this is also an aspect which I think is really interesting because, yeah, you mean in the mountains it's colder, but it's not always. So I think you see this in these objects. If you go to this valley, all the wood is black. It's not, you in the valleys there are some places I saw it which have similarities to this, and I think this is really strong for me. So
yeah, the elements are very present. The elements, they are very present.
Yeah.
It's when we see your photograph, there's nobody. We don't see anybody when we see your views, but on the same time there's a strong sense of presence, and because there are many traces that remind us of a kind of presence. How did you? Is it something that you wanted to highlight? Yeah. This tension between presence and absence.
Yeah, it's nice that you have this point, because this is something I think this is the core of the work. It's really important that you feel these traces. Not, I think I have a lot of portraits up there. I made a lot of portraits of people which are living there, but I've always thought it's stronger if you don't show them, and you show the traces of these people which live there, which made these objects, which look for them always, and but it's nice that people feel this in the images. So maybe you see yourself sometimes in a place, and this is what I'm interested in, making this tension. Yeah.
The portraits that you took from the people from the region, did you show them? Did you exhibit them as well?
No, not yet.
Not yet. This is another part of the project.
No. This is a completely different project I have in mind for the future. But in the next years I will keep them at my place, and maybe if there is a possibility and a topic which interests me, maybe I can take them out again. But at the moment they are personal work still. Yeah.
Another element that I thought was quite impressive is that on one hand it's very peaceful, very quiet and very calm, but on the other we feel a kind of urgency.
Yeah, this is another really important aspect of the work. I think this calmness which you mentioned is because we are living in a country like Switzerland, Europe. It's completely oversaturated. Everything has to be mentioned and advertised as something which is good for you. And in this valley, I saw things which never have this presence in the mind of people. I think we all know the mountains, but we don't know, or at least not so many people know this another image of these mountains. I think this is what I wanted to show, and then clearly you can see the melting snow and things which decay. I think decay and the beauty of decay is also an important aspect I wanted to show, and it is quality of decay. It's something beautiful to look at, and in the other hand it's sad because something is going away, and this is something which also is a personal aspect which I have to manage, because I fear because of things which decay and go away, and the death. This is something personal but transformed in images. Yeah.
I think then working on this series and approaching these themes of decay, of beauty, of time, is it also a way for you to think about all these things and to help you understand and overcome them?
Yeah, it's exactly like this. It's even more. It's I have to look at things. I have to look at not somebody getting old. It's like looking at my mother, which gets older. Every 2 weeks I see the difference, and if you look at these things really precise, then you get a sense of time, in the sense of time which you have on this world, and for me it's it's something it's a way to accept decay, accept the time passing. But it's really difficult for me personally. It's a difficult aspect. Some people are better in this. For me, it's really hard. But for this, I think take these images. Yeah.
And Sandro, you are an architect and photographer, actually. You have these two activities. How do you? So you work as an architect as well?
At the moment, not really. At the moment, the aspect of photography is much bigger. I'm doing some clients' work, photographing houses and situations, gardens, but in this year I'm doing completely the part of photography. Last year already, so I don't know how it goes in the future. But with this exhibition and possibilities to talk about it's interesting what will come. So I have to take a look. But the photography is really important at the moment. Yeah.
Because I was wondering how your architecture backgrounds maybe impact your photography or the way you look at things. Could you tell something about that? Do you think that the way that your studies in architecture changed your way of looking at elements, at structures, architectures, and?
Yeah, I think it's already when I studied, the image was important of a house. So I made images like models or photographs or renderings, digital renderings, but always with the image in mind. First, there was always an image, an idea, and then there came the technical parts like plans and all these things. But I was really, if I look at the project, the first thing I do is looking at the images of a project. And I think this is, I thought in the whole time in images and ambiances. And so I'm not the clinical architect which draw the plan and then think about an image. It's the whole different way of approaching things. So it's somehow natural that photography became such an important part in my life. So and now at the moment it's the one part. So yeah.
And you are represented by Gallery 94 in Baden.
Yes. Yeah.
So we had the chance to see some works of your series, Mountain Bleaching, in the virtual booth.
Yeah.
Part of our virtual photo basel, which will start next week. And you also had an exhibition in the gallery itself in Baden.
Yeah, we postponed the whole thing. It opened 2 weeks ago, and tomorrow, Saturday, is the artist talk with Pauline Guex from Magnum Photos. So tomorrow is a big event. It's like a vernissage opening. I'm really excited. So looking forward for tomorrow, and then it's open 2 weeks till the end of June. And
so, thank you very much for this discussion.
Thanks.
Have a good continuation.
Yeah, too. And I'm looking forward for the virtual exhibition I'm excited how it feels and how it's to go to this exhibition. I'm really interested in. Yeah.